fun 22 baseball season
For sure. Paul Goldschmidt going to get that Triple Crown, Jack?
Triple Crown? Boy, I don't know. That's a challenge. He seems to be cooling off a little of late, but I think hopefully he'll hold on to his position in the MVP race. I think he's a pretty good bet for that one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's got to be the easy front runner, no question. But, Jack, as much as we could probably talk about baseball for the next 20 minutes, let's dive into some Social Security business. And let's start it out here this morning and talk about applying for Medicare online. Tell us all the details here, Jack.
Yeah, Seth, I get a lot of questions from people who are approaching age 65, and they want to know, they know they need to do something for Medicare, but they're not exactly sure what. So I wanted to just throw this information out there and let people know that, even if you're not ready to start collecting your retirement benefits, you can still apply for Medicare online. And one of the biggest things that people need to understand is they need to know when to apply for Medicare, because that's very important. And of course, you can get Medicare for a variety of reasons. You can get Medicare on the basis of disability. If you're on Social Security disability benefits for 24 months, you can get it if you have end-stage renal failure that requires kidney dialysis or a transplant. But what I'm more so focusing on this morning is the age-based Medicare, which is something that people get at the age of 65. So let's talk a little bit about the enrollment periods for that age 65 based Medicare, because, that's especially for the Medicare Part B, which is going to be the part that covers doctor bills and stuff like that, outpatient doctor visits, things like that. Those enrollment periods are important to understand. And, really, Seth, we have 3 enrollment periods that you need to be aware of. There's the initial enrollment period, the general enrollment period, and the special enrollment period. And for most people, you're going to want to get signed up for Part B during the initial enrollment period. And that's going to be the 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, or the 3 months after. So that's that initial enrollment period. And really, about the only time it makes sense not to sign up for Part B during that initial enrollment period is if you are still working and you're covered by your active group health plan, or your spouse is still working and you're covered by their active group health plan. Because in those cases, as long as that employment and active group health coverage is going to continue more than 3 months after the month you turn 65, so in other words, beyond your initial enrollment period, as long as that coverage continues beyond that point, then you can qualify for a special enrollment period later. So if you're still enrolled in that plan and you're still covered by your active employment, and you decide, okay, now I'm going to retire, I want to get signed up for Part B, then you could do so under that special enrollment period without any penalties to worry about, without lags in effective date of the coverage. The main thing to do there is I tell people the best idea is, if you're going to go the special enrollment period route, just sign up while you're still working. When okay, I'm going to be retiring at the end of this month, I want my coverage to start next month. Apply this month and tell us you want the coverage to start next month, and that's a pretty good option for you. And then that third enrollment period that I mentioned is the general enrollment period. So if you miss the initial and you don't qualify for a special, your only other option is a general enrollment period, and that's January through March of each year. So one does come around every year, but the problem with that is you're going to face some penalties. You're only going to be able to do it in the general enrollment period, so you have to wait for that. And then you're also going to be potentially looking at some premium penalties where you're going to pay more for your Medicare because of that late enrollment. So not a great option. For most, you want to get the initial or the special enrollment period.
Gotcha. Very good. Jack, as we talk here for this morning, you mentioned enrolling in these. Can you do that through Social Security, or do you have to go through Medicare to do that?
So that's a great question, and that's another one that a lot of people wonder about. And actually, we at Social Security handle the enrollment into Medicare Parts A and B. So you do that through us, and you can do it on our website. just go to ssa.gov/benefits/Medicare, or just go to ssa.gov and look for it. And you can find it pretty easily on there. If that's not for you, though, if you'd rather have an appointment to talk to somebody and do your application over the phone, you can set that up by calling us at 800-772-1213. And, when we were talking about the enrollment periods, I'm kind of focused a lot on Medicare Part B because those are really what it's kind of specific to. But for a lot of people, even if you choose not to take the Part B during your initial enrollment period, it's probably going to be a good idea to go ahead and sign up for the Part A, because if you've had enough work credits or you're married to somebody who's had enough work credits, the Part A is free. It's a hospitalization insurance, so it's going to be secondary to your work insurance if you're still working for most parts. But the only caveat I will offer, or the only warning I will say, is if you are covered under what's called a high deductible health plan and you have an HSA, a health savings account, there are some IRS rules that permit you to contribute to your HSA. And once you sign up for any part of Medicare, including Part A, you can no longer contribute to those HSAs. So that's something to consider if you're thinking about signing up for Part A while you're still enrolled in your high deductible health plan. But again, that's kind of a specific, they're becoming more common. That's why I want to mention it. So really, maybe what you should take away from this is sign up for Part A, even if you don't need Part B yet at 65, unless you have an HSA. Then talk to your human resources department or something like that, or give us a call and ask us at Social Security about that.
Jack, you've thrown a lot at us here for this morning. Again, the best way for folks to learn about everything that we're talking about this morning.
So if you're wanting to learn about enrollment into Medicare A and B, visit our website at ssa.gov. If you want general information about Medicare, you can visit Medicare's website at medicare.gov, because they also have other things for you to think about with regard to, do you want to sign up for a Medicare prescription drug plan? Do you want a Medicare supplement or Advantage plan? And those are plans that are sold by private insurance companies, but they're overseen by Medicare. So for those plans, you would enroll directly with the providers, the insurance companies that provide them. But you would typically do that, at least for the Advantage plans, you would do that after you get enrolled in Part A and Part B. For a drug plan, all you need is Part A or Part B. So, yep, definitely a lot of info, but visit our website, ssa.gov, for enrollment to A and B, and then medicare.gov for a whole bunch of other information on Medicare programs in general.
That is Jack Myers with Social Security. Jack, I'll tell you what, my friend, let's take a time out here. We'll dive into a couple more topics on the other side of a break here on the morning show on WHOW.
WHOW. Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and wheat all opening the day lower. September corn, 668 and a quarter, down 5.5. December corn down 3 and a quarter, 667 and a quarter. Large corn starting the day, 673 and a quarter, down 3 and a quarter. September beans down 17 to begin this Thursday, 1490 and a half. November beans, 1417 and a quarter, down 5 and a quarter. January beans down 4 3/4, 1423. September wheat, 806 down 3. December wheat down 7 1/4, 824 1/4. March wheat, 841, that's down 6 3/4. September bean meal, 459.50, up 60 cents. And September bean oil, down $1.54, 71.20. The energy market, October crude oil, 87.73, down $1.82. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
We often use the term full service, but what does that really mean? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Full service means we provide solutions for your transportation problems. We have 24 hours towing, collision repairs, engine maintenance, tire replacement and alignments, including wheel balancing. We're your problem-solving team. We pledge to listen to your car concerns and discuss your best options. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
CEO Paul Scarin here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Our trained physical therapists offer quality, compassionate care close to home. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
When it comes to fire and water restoration, ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties is the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. Find out all the services they provide by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHW Morning Show is streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Jack, it's back to school time, and let's talk a little bit about teachers and retirement benefits and how that relates to Social Security. What do you have for us today, sir?
Yeah, it is kind of hard for me to believe that we're already back to school, but it's in full swing around here. So I think that's pretty much the case everywhere in Central Illinois. And so, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that we have some resources out there that can help teachers who are wanting to educate their students on Social Security. I mean, chances are most students are going to know somebody who receives retirement or disability benefits from Social Security. So they might have a small amount of exposure to the program. But our program is actually, obviously a pretty important federal program that touches the lives of most Americans. So with that in mind, we have this, what we call an educator's toolkit to help introduce our programs to the young students. And we appreciate the efforts that educators make to provide information and tools, and just hope that these resources will maybe make that job a little bit easier. To find them, you go to our website, so it's ssa.gov. Easiest thing to do is just look on the menu, and then in the section that's called Information For, there's something that says Educator. So ssa.gov, menu, Information For, Educators. And what you'll find there is a toolkit that contains a couple different lesson plans. The first one is, what is Social Security and why is it important to me? And then the second one is Social Security just for retirement, and will it be there for me? So those are the topics that are kind of covered in those two different toolkits. What's in there as far as content for teachers, there are infographics, talking points, quiz questions, and then answers. So questions and answers. So don't tell your students where you got the toolkit. Otherwise, they'll be able to find the answers. But, in all seriousness, it's something that we think would be good for teachers to use. But really, it could be something for parents or grandparents to use at home, too. So, if you want to have that conversation with your child or your grandchild, this website and that toolkit might be a good place to start. There's no login or anything, so it's not like you have to have an official teacher credential of some sort to get access to it. So if you're interested, check it out. Again, it's at ssa.gov under menu and then Information For Educators. There you'll find the toolkits that have all those things that we talked about.
All right, easy enough. Good stuff, Jack. Thanks for outlining that for us here for this morning. And let's dive into supplemental security income and types of changes to report if you receive SSI, Jack. Let's dive into that real fast.
Absolutely. So, at our Social Security offices, we administer, of course, Social Security benefits. So Social Security retirement, Social Security disability, survivors benefits, spousal benefits, things like that. But we also administer the supplemental security income, SSI programs. And SSI programs are different from Social Security. They're needs-based. They're not paid from the Social Security trust funds. So the money that you pay in Social Security or FICA taxes isn't used to pay SSI benefits. And as such, you don't have to have worked and paid into Social Security in order to qualify for SSI. But because it's a needs-based program, there is a lot of additional information that we need to know about, because income and resources are factors of eligibility for SSI. And what that means is changes in your circumstances could affect your SSI eligibility a lot easier than they would your Social Security. You know, we really don't care who you live with in terms of your eligibility for Social Security, but that could make a difference in your eligibility for SSI. So there are several things. If you're receiving or applying for SSI, there are several things or changes that you should report to us for yourself and your spouse if you live together. Same can be said for a child. If you are applying for SSI for your minor child, then there are changes from your household that need to be reported to us. And just some common examples of those types of changes would be changes in income, changes in resources, including bank accounts, vehicles, or property, changes in employment. So if you start work or you stop work or you change your hours or change your job, those sorts of things need to be reported to us. And remember, that's for you if you're applying, or it could be if your spouse is receiving SSI and you're working and you're in the same household, or if your child is receiving SSI and it's a minor child and you're in the same household. Some other examples would be change in your address. So if you move, or if the household composition changes. So maybe somebody that was in the household and working moves out. That could actually increase your eligibility or your child's eligibility. Or maybe somebody moves into the household who's now working. So that could potentially have an impact as well. Other examples would be if you enter or exit a nursing home, jail, or prison, if you have a change in your lawful status. So if you were lawfully present and now you're no longer lawfully present, you definitely need to tell us about that. I know that would have an impact for you. And then change in marital status. So those are just a few of the examples. We've got more information on our website. If you go to ssa.gov, there's a pretty good pamphlet out there that's called Understanding Supplemental Security Income Reporting Responsibilities. So that's a good place to start. And then we also have some good options for you if you need to report wages, because wages need to be reported to us on a monthly basis if you're getting SSI or your spouse or your minor child is getting SSI. And so, there are ways you can do it. We've got a free mobile wage reporting app. You can use My Social Security accounts, online wage reporting tool. The best thing to tell you about wage reporting is you have to tell us about the job first and do an initial report to Social Security by calling or visiting our office, and then let us know that you're interested in one of these automated ways to report your wages, and we can get that set up for you. It's just a lot more convenient for you to do it that way than it would be to have to mail or fax pay stubs to us every month. A lot of people don't even actually get a hard copy of their pay stub anymore. So, being able to do it electronically is something that most people seem to prefer when it comes to wage reporting.
Very good. Well, Jack, anything else on that before we move along this morning?
One other thing I'll say on wage reporting is it is, of course, very important that you do it on a monthly basis. And via our website, if you're afraid that you'll forget, you can actually sign up for monthly reminders that would be delivered to you either via email or text message that would help you report those wages or remember to report those wages. So, once you report the work to us and then get set up for the automated wage reporting, it might be a good idea to sign up for those monthly reminders too, so you get that text message or email.
Jack, already got to let you go, my friend. We'll talk next month. Thanks for doing this with us as always.
Thanks a bunch. Appreciate it.
Jack Myers, Social Security, my guest on the phone for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. And if you miss any of our conversation with Jack here this morning, you can check out archives of the morning show again at our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, WHOW TV. Network news on the way.
WHOW.